guys, thanks for tuning in. This is Optibotimus coming at you with another video review. And on today's episode, thanks to the folks at FansToys, we're going to be taking a look at their new FT-16 Sovereign, which as you can see is their version of a masterpiece style Galvatron. And this thing is absolutely spectacular. For his accessories, he does come with an alternate face. The one that's currently on him is very neutral. This one is a very angry looking one, but really great molded detail on there with a lot of angry kind of emotion in it. Yeah, you can see that the eyes are hollow, but when you actually install it, the color is filled in. So you do have that, which is nice. You also can see that he also does come with a matrix of leadership. It is made out of die cast. You got a nice jewel here in the center. You got a real metal chain. Real nice detail on this as well. You can see some really nice light piping going all the way throughout there with some nice silver and gold paint. You come around to the back and you got a little bit smaller of a jewel, but the front of it really much larger and very classic looking. And like I said, you got that nice metal chain. So if you wanted to, you can slide it down there. He did have that kind of displayed like that when he was fighting Hot Rod inside Unicron, if you remember, because like this part right here is his head, you know, so it makes sense that since this was around his neck that it would be dangling there. And then he also does come with a different fusion cannon. Now, as you can see, this is a much more kind of cartoon accurate, solid color fusion cannon, but to replicate how the toy looked, they give us this orange clear lucent one, molded in the same style, but just with an actual see-through sort of feature. I do kind of wish that they put like some sparkles in there, kind of like the original G1 toy did actually have, but this is really very nice. It definitely gives you options for displaying. Now, coming to take a look at this guy, one thing that you instantly get a feel for is just how heavy this is. There is a lot of die cast in this piece. Coming in at a little over 1 pound 14 ounces, this guy is just shy of 2 pounds. Which is, like I said, absolutely incredible. As soon as you pick it up, you instantly got a feel for it. But then as you look around, you just get a much greater appreciation for his kind of ugly space cannon. And as ugly as it is, it's absolutely accurate. Now, to swap out the cannon section, this just pegs in very easily. Now, it does actually transform, so all you do is take this. It's a little bit tricky for me because, you know, no fingernails. I should, like, literally stop biting them, right? So you fold this up like that, then you can rotate this around, and then you bring this back down, and you have the little peg right here with a little slot section that allows you to tab it in specifically in this direction. So let's see, get you wedged in there very nicely. And now if you wanted to create that G1 toy kind of look, you absolutely can. So doing the comparisons right away, here is the new Sovereign. And here's my Japanese version of Galvatron. So again, like I said, you have this see-through cannon part, which is nicely replicated here, I do think. But you can see size-wise just how big he is by comparison. Obviously, also, the color is a little bit lighter. And one thing that is a huge improvement is the fact that this is a lot smaller. This is also articulated, so you can kind of position this how you want. But you can actually angle that where you're getting him shooting upward. Whereas with this guy, the only way you could really do it is if you rotated that around and did it, and that didn't really look all that accurate. I mean, you could put it up like that, which kind of replicated that a little bit, but obviously the only real way to get him shooting upwards would be to do something like that. But I mean, you can see, honestly, I mean, the G1 toy did pretty well nail that look, and obviously you got the blasting sounds. There's a transform. Where's that at? I mean, he does that too. Let's see. It's just fun, so I'm going to do it. Let's see. Okay. No idea. No clue. Nothing. So that's really very fun. But like I said, really big when compared to the original G1, which was already big by itself. Now, no, unfortunately, this does not have any lights or sounds or anything, but it does have some rolling wheels here on the underside of the treads right here, and then you also have some here on the back, so he can roll fairly well. My surface here is a little bit rounded some, so it doesn't roll as well, but obviously a giant cannon kind of thing needs to move around. That was something that, I mean, I don't think they needed to include, but I'm actually pretty happy that they did. But really very nice, very clean, and obviously nails that likeness very, very nicely. Now to transform him, he's not terribly difficult, but there are some tricky parts to him. First, you want to remove the actual cannon, whichever one that you have inside. Then we're going to come around here to the side of them. We're going to kind of get these arms a little bit out of the way. You want to reach in here and pull these out. Now they are actually meant to tab in, but I don't actually tab them in. It makes it a little bit easier. But you can see that when you have it pushed down, it looks perfectly fine. There's a couple parts that are like that. Like I said, just leaving it out makes it a little bit easier to lift them up. Then come around here to this section right here. You can see that the little purple piece here kind of tabs in along the gray section, so you just want to kind of pull that out just like that. That's going to loosen things up here in the back. Come around here to the bottom, kind of get that out of the way, and you can basically spread these out. Now another part that's supposed to tab in, I should have shown this, is this section right here. You got a little slot right here, and then you push this all the way in, and the little notch there on the side actually slots in there. Again, it really doesn't matter too much. It probably collapses it a little bit, but that's another part that I just leave detached, just because it makes it a little bit easier to transform. So go ahead and remove that. You can then split the legs a little bit. You can then take this section, you can rotate this down, just getting things out of the way. Kind of fold these side pieces up, then lift this piece up right here, and then angle this out. You can then take this entire section here in the back and rotate this out. It's on a double hinge, so just pull this out like so, then take this little purple section, flop that up like that, and then make sure you push that all the way in, collapsing that whole section inward. Come around here to the side. This little section right here, where you can rotate this around and collapse that in. This whole little section right here is on a little sliding hinge. When you have that pulled out like that, then slide it up just like so, and then angle this part in. You got two different hinges here. You can see you got that little hinge right here, and then this piece is on the hinge. So you want to rotate this in, which will then lock that tab into that square section. So just push that in like so, then hinge this down. You can then rotate this piece around. So you're just accordioning that in, and then fold that right there and lock that piece in just like so. Take this section, wrap this around his knee, come around here to the bottom. You can then push the foot out from underneath the bottom section, fold that up, and then if that wasn't collapsed, bring that down just like so. So again, do that on this side, lift this piece up, hinge this section out like so, and then accordion the actual leg all the way out and extend that. You can fold this in, well, slide this outer piece up just like so. Make sure you get that slit all the way up to the top. Rotate this, rotate this. You're going to spin this around like so, then swivel that in, locking that down. Then rotate this piece around on that hinge, lock that piece in, come around here, fold the foot out, spin that around like that. Make sure that that stays pushed in nice and securely. Rotate this around the actual leg, and there you have the legs done. You can kind of take this bottom section, just put that through, then bring these pieces down like that. Kind of rotate these arms out, get them out of the way. Come around here to this top section, pull this out and hinge that down like so, and then you can separate this and angle that up. You're going to then swivel it back, kind of like on an accordion, so that now comes around like so, and you're going to position this upwards. But before you lock that in, come around here to this piece, fold that out just like that. Come around here to the back, take these. This part here can actually be really tricky, and it's a part that I'm not a real big fan of. Rotate these forward, and then you had it originally back, and like I said, this part here can get a little bit tricky to do. So rotating that, you had it all the way back, now it's back like so. So just hinge that, rotate that forward to the front. There we go. And then come around here to the back section. It's a little bit easier to do it this way if you just kind of push from the back and pull this whole thing out. This part here is going to come out, so it kind of helps pushing his head kind of through there, and that will kind of detach this piece right here. So swivel that out, then you rotate this around right there. There we go. Swivel that around, and then you had this piece, just rotate that back around like so. You're going to be hiding that, and then you got this, rotate this entire set. Oh, come around here, take these. You want to lift these. Again, these are parts right here that are meant to tab all the way down, but I don't do it. It doesn't really ruin the look very much, I don't think, if you don't tab it down, but it makes it a little bit easier to transform. So again, lift that up like so, then rotate this, and as you rotate that, spin these pieces around like that, and then bring this all the way back and bring his head all the way up just like so. From here, you can then collapse the entire body all the way down, give that a nice little push and lock that into place, and then spin this torso bit around just like so. And take this section, again, keep that out of the way. You want to come around here. You kind of have to reach in through here, make sure that these little flaps are pushed off to the side, and then that middle part here with the red section, that one's a little bit trickier to get to because this piece is in here. Fold that forward just like so. Then you can take this back section, get that out of the way. You can rotate this up, but then to get it to actually go all the way through, because you got these top pieces right here that kind of are bumping into this, you actually have to take the head, and there's a separate rotation joint here that allows you to pivot that a little bit more forward to facilitate the actual, get that in there, facilitate sliding that in. So just pop that out like that, and then you can push this all the way in. There we go, get that in, and then you can push this entire top section, locking that in, bring this up, lock that into place. You can then bring this up, and you can see a slot right here with a little groove section. So you just hinge this piece up, that will lock into place, according all this piece down, just like that. Then you take these, rotate these around, and extend these all the way down. You got a little tab right here that matches up with a square section on the inside of the purple little bit. So find that proper movement. There we go. Do that on this side as well. Bring that out, lock that into place. Come around here, bring these little pieces down. You can fold that down like so. You can then take this chest section, bring this up, lock that into place, straighten out his head. You can then come around here to the arms. These are a little bit tricky. You have to, there's a lot of force involved here. So pull this out, that locks into place, and then slide these up, and then this whole sliding mechanism right here also slides up, and then you give that a nice little push once you get that all the way up in and lock that into place just like so. So put that there, and then you rotate this piece around and then hinge this up and fill in that gap right here in the lower part of his arm. Give that a nice little push, and that helps to hold it into place a little bit better there. Do that on this side as well. So pull this whole section out, rotate that up. This piece then swivels up and will push and lock into place right up there. Get that up there. There we go. And then swivel this around. Bring this up, pushing that in there. Rotate these arms down like so. You got the little tank treads, then kind of move this out, and that will allow you to fold this piece out like so. Fold that all the way around, bring this up, and then you rotate this whole section here is on a completely separate swivel. So you rotate that around to the back, and then you come around here to the hand, or I'm sorry, the elbow, detach this, that pegs in, and rotate the hand around like that, and then you can take this and you can collapse that in like so. So again, do that on this side. Fold this out a little bit. Let you pull this little tab section here. Come on. There we go. There you go. Well, that's I don't have a lot of finger strength. There we go. Fold that out like that. Fold that all the way down. Rotate this up, and then rotate this part all the way around to the back. Rotate the hand around. Detach the elbow from the tab that's right up in here. Collapse this all in. I messed this back section up. How dare I? There you go. Put that in there. Kind of angle that around. Then the last bit actually tells you to rotate the little spire around like that. And when you're done pushing all that together, locking it all in place, there you have Sovereign in his very, very cool looking robot mode. And then to complete this look, you just take his cannon again. You open this piece up. You rotate this piece around like so, closing that up just like that. And then you've got a little square hole right here that this little peg fits into very nicely. Just squeeze that in. And there you have Sovereign in his completed look. And this really is spectacular. This really might be one of the best looking figures that FansToys has ever done. The transformation is a little bit tricky. It does require a little bit of finesse as you're doing it, but everything really does come together very, very nicely on this and just fits perfectly. They just nailed the aesthetic. The look on this guy is so very nice. I love the fact that, like I said, I'm knocking things out. I love the fact that it is very heavy. As I said, almost 2 pounds. The feet down here have a lot of die cast. The upper body here has a lot of die cast. I'm trying to feel the cold spots right here. So I know the feet, these lower pieces here are die cast. He's got die cast up here in his shoulder. This entire chest piece right here is die cast. These little pieces, no, that's plastic. He's got like little die cast joints right there. I mean, overall, really quite impressive in the overall design. Like you can see this entire section right here. These are supposed to be folded down, I'm sorry. These are all made out of die cast. So a lot of very sturdy pieces on this. Even as a test sample, this thing absolutely blows me away. Now for some comparisons, obviously, here he is. And here's his G1 self, and you can see that Sovereign does get a little bit bigger, obviously, but the overall look is still very much similar. I mean, you can see you got those little red bits down here that are nicely replicated. You got the red kind of jewel sections that are actually put here, very nicely replicate the chrome bits right there. The shoulder bits, the head. I love how he's got the little kind of goatee thing here, much like the original one did. Obviously, the little top section here looks more like a crown, whereas this one has a much more accurate crest with the kind of angular sort of prong sticking up. You have a much more accurate spine thingy coming up than you did have on this one. Again, just much more cartoon accurate. Some people have complained that they probably would like to have this section be a little bit bigger. I get why it's small like it is. It makes it so it can actually fit in the cannon, but the overall look for the cannon, I think, looks really nice. You can't really position it on the front like that. You can rotate the arm around and kind of get that locked into place. So this one here seems to detach a little bit easier than the other one did. Let me see here. That one, yeah, that one stays in a little bit more securely. So that's probably something that will be adjusted in the final one. But you get that a nice little push. It actually stays in there pretty good. So you can rotate and then you can bring the hand around. So if you wanted to display them like that, you could. But you are going to have the elbow joint kind of fitting on the inside. So it's personal preference, really, on how you want to do it. I mean, it doesn't bother me having it off to the side, but I do understand where people would probably want it to be actually on the top bit. You're just not going to really be able to, bend the elbow at all. One thing that I will say is that the feet here really don't do too much other than stabilize them. A lot of the actual standing on the figure come on this back section, so sometimes he will list forward a little bit if you don't have it properly balanced. You do want to keep the weight kind of on that back section there. This really doesn't seem to hold too much as it kind of moves forward a little, but it's not really all that bad, honestly. But now for another comparison, and how he stacks up with an official Masterpiece figure, here he is next to Optimus Prime, and you can see that he is taller than Optimus, which kind of works because Megatron should have always been a little bit bigger than Optimus, and with Galvatron being the reformatted version of Megatron, it works that Galvatron's a little bit taller. And for another comparison, here he is next to the Masterpiece version of Hot Rod and Rodimus Prime. Obviously, you can see Hot Rod is a much smaller figure, and honestly, to me, isn't really meant to scale very well with Galvatron or Sovereign here, but Rodimus Prime actually scales pretty good with him. Again, he should be a little bit bigger than him, and that's definitely the case here. He comes up at the head a little bit taller than Rodimus. Again, for his accessories, you do have that clear fusion cannon that you can use if you want to. You also do have his Matrix of Leadership that if you, again, wanted to do that, you can just put that over his head and that drapes down very nicely. Or, you can put that with one of your Autobots if you really wanted to. But getting that off, what's going on here? There we go. You can also swap out the face, like I was saying. To do that, really, all you have to do is come around here to the back. You got one screw. You just attach that, pull the face apart, and then you put this in there. The eyes are attached, so like I was saying, the eye coloring, which you can see is this really nice reflective red paint in there, actually fills in the hollow eyes for the replacement face. But this is a very kind of just stoic sort of look, whereas the replacement one is a very angry look, which I think looks pretty cool. For his articulation, he actually has a lot of it, which is really very very nice and impressive. The head rotates all the way around if you really wanted to and have him do a little Linda Blair thing. You can actually have him swivel up and down at the neck, so you can get him looking up and down very nicely. The shoulders here are on fairly soft ratchet joints that rotate very nicely, and then you can hear a little bit harder of a ratchet joints. That kind of pops out. Oh, what's going on here? Things are flopping. Again, test sample, but you can see you got a nice ratchet joint moving in and out right there. The shoulders right here rotate, and then, like I said, this piece right here is also independent, so you do kind of have to rotate them both by like holding them right there to get them to rotate all at one time. Otherwise, you're going to like get, well, or you just do it like that. I mean, it could potentially just rotate and have that piece rotate separately. So just be careful when you're doing it. He's got two joints here at the elbow for a very strong range of motion. That looks really very good. He also does rotate at the lower section of the forearm, which is cool. He also does rotate at the wrist, so lots of rotation with all of this. The fingers are individually articulated. You can see the thumb here is on a ball joint, and then it also does have a hinge right there, and then all the fingers are all individually articulated. You got the main joint, secondary, and then the final joint all the way down here. One other piece that's really very cool is he also does have a hinge right here that allows you to flex the wrist forward and back. So if you did want to go like that and angle the hand down, you could do something like that. He also does have waist rotation. You can rotate that at a very nice ratchet joint. You can kind of move these pieces out of the way, and you can get a forward and back motion here at the hips. Moves in and out on some nice friction joints. He rotates at the upper part of the thigh. He's got two joints here at the knee, which get a very nice range of motion. And then you come down to the ankle. Those can flex in and out, but obviously when you do, you create a big gap right there. And then the toe kind of, I mean, you got this section right here that moves forward and back. Again, kind of makes it look ugly. And then the toe, I guess, you can move forward, or I'm sorry, back a little bit, but that's mostly for the actual transformation. So again, lots of articulation. I'm really impressed with all the articulation that's actually in the arm. That's really very cool. I really wasn't expecting that, but very nice to see, and it really allows you to get some very cool dynamic poses with the guy. Now, transformation back into his cannon mode can be a little bit tricky, and it's probably the most tricky of the transformations. First, you want to go ahead and take off his cannon. You can take this, rotate this around, spin this around, collapse that in, and now you have that set up. I'm just going to set that off to the side. Then you want to make sure that the hands are positioned in a way where the fingers are collapsed in, and then the thumb is actually positioned like that. Go ahead and rotate this section. You can bring this out. Rotate this all the way around, and then rotate the entire thing so that the actual screws are facing the outside. Bring this piece down, and you got a little square section. Well, actually, you got to rotate that around as well. And then bring this around and position it. There we go. Get it like that. You got a little knot section right here, which is going to fit in here on the back section. Then bring this in, collapse this around, and tab that in just like so. Do that on this side as well. So you can see that there is a certain sequence that you need to go into here. So rotate that around, spin that whole thing around like that, rotate the fist around, lock the actual elbow into place up here, bring this piece around, tab this piece in along that side, fold the hand in, bring this piece up and around just like so. Come around here, you kind of wiggle these and it kind of loosens this up, which makes it a little bit easier. Rotate this down on both sides like so. Kind of straighten out his head. We're going to need to do that later on. And then detach this from the upper section. Again, this can be a little bit tricky. You want to slide that down like that, and then this will accordion down, and you have to push this in. This is, again, very stiff, but give that a good little push and lock this section in. Do that on this side as well. Separate this, rotate this down. It slides down. There we go. And bring this in, give that a nice little push. That'll lock into place when it's in the proper position. You can rotate these around. You'll fiddle with these all later on. Come around here to the chest section where you can open this piece up like that and angle that down, and then lift this entire piece up and detach it right on the inside here. Again, trying to, so you can see it, there we go. And then hinge this back. Oh, well, bring this all, detach all that and loosen that up. And then you can angle that up. Come around here to the back section, take this little piece, detach that, slide that down, rotate these pieces up. This is kind of a little bit tricky and probably the most tricky aspect. You got to go in a kind of specific sequence to make sure everything kind of gets out of the way. So lift that up like that, and then you want to take this piece and kind of push down here, which will help to loosen this up, and then you can pull this piece out. If you rotate that all the way down, let's see, make sure this stays out of the way. Get that out of the way like that, pushing that down, and then you can pull this piece out, rotate this around like so, spin this piece around, and then you can make sure everything's out of the way, and you can rotate, get this pushed back, and then you can rotate this all the way. You want to make sure that that's kind of pushed up here so that you can rotate this around. As you rotate this around, bringing that towards the front section like that, you want to sort of angle this up like, now, well, it's on a hinge, angle that up and keep that out of the way. And then, like I was saying, you have a specific kind of sequence to move things in. Get these out of the way. This kind of gets a little bit caught up in here, so you want to bring that around and bring that around. There we go. Well, actually, nope. Needs to go all the way around. There we go. All the way around. And before you bring it all in, it makes a little bit easier if you do it like that. There we go. So get that into position, and then you can rotate this all the way down and lift these up just to kind of get those out of the way. Rotate the little spine thing around. Then you can take this, rotate this around, bring this up, collapsing that piece in right there. Then take this, you can lift this piece up and tab that back into place. Come around here to the top. These can then swivel down right here. Like I said, you're supposed to push this all the way down and lock it in, but it just makes it so difficult to actually get out because there's no real leverage point on here. You almost have to use something to wedge it open, and people get nervous when I do that, so I'm not going to do it. But you can see, leaving it down like that, it looks perfectly fine. You don't notice it really all that much. Spin this around like that, bring this. You can then take this entire section, you want to rotate this all the way around like so, and then you can then bring this and hinge this down and accordion this piece down like so and kind of put it right there. You can then get these arms out of the way, make sure that this is rotated around, bring this, collapse this all the way down, and then you can bring this and this accordions and shorten so that you can actually tab that right up in there. Again, kind of rotate these around. That's where you're going to have the actual cannons, and honestly those are backwards, so I'll have to rotate those around anyhow. But come around here to the back section, you can then just get this kind of out of the way, lift that out of the way, lift these, kind of make some room for you as you're working. Come around here to the front section, lift this up right here. You can take the foot, rotate that, spin that around, and then lift this piece up and spin this out towards the side as well. According this all the way out, and then you take this outer section, collapse this down on that little, make sure that's out of the way, collapse this down on the little sliding joint, and then you fold this whole piece in. It double hinges so you can actually bring this up and in like that. You want to make sure that this little flap is pointing forward like that. Bring that down, rotate this, and then you can bring this all the way around. Take this section, fold this in like that. You're going to have to tab that in there, so we'll just fiddle with that later. Bring that in, put that there. You can then take this and fold all that together. Do that on this side as well, so lift this piece up, accordion this whole section up and out. Take this little piece, rotate this around, get that out of the way. Take this entire outer section, collapse that down on that little sliding joint, rotate this piece out, take the foot, spin here, tuck that away, and then accordion this entire section down and in. Kind of keep these spread out. It'll make things a little bit easier for you. Collapse that down, locking that into place. Make sure that that little knee section is down. Rotate this all the way around like so. Bring that there, and then collapse that down just like so. Take this section, bring this all the way through, and you want to make sure that that middle bit here is down along the back section to make sure it's all the way flush. And then as you do, you can bring this, and then it sandwiches between these little grooves. So just bring that together, and lining all that up, you can then squeeze that together just like so, and that's in the proper position. Bring this up, kind of push that in there, and then again, you got these little pieces which are meant to go on the inside here, and lock in the place. You got that little groove bit right here that slots on the inside here. I don't really necessarily think you need to do it, but it's a little bit tricky to actually do, but it still looks perfectly fine. Just kind of have it dangle there. You can straighten this out, rotate this so it's towards the outside. Do that on this side as well. Come around here to the top section, keep these lifted up, fold these pieces down just like that, and then you have to kind of hinge this up and lock this little purple section into those little slot areas. Give that a nice little push, locking that into place, down just like so. Keep these pieces up, and you can fold this down like that. So keep this piece up, and then fold that piece down. And then these little pieces, this was what I was talking about before. You got a little tab right on here that grabs on a section on there. You can do it like, I mean, I'll show you. You can lock that in there. I don't think it really matters, to be totally honest, and it's a little bit tricky to kind of get it out, but for the purpose of this, I'll leave it there. So make sure that's all collapsed up. These pieces here literally just rotate and then tuck down along the side there. They don't tab in or anything. That's one aspect that I feel could be improved upon, but I don't think it's overly terrible. It just kind of sits there anyhow. Rotate these pieces down. Did I have that? Yeah, see, I had that rotated around. So you want to make sure that that's spun around so that this middle section here is facing the back. That allows you to angle these, keep that tucked down, so that you can position the tank a little bit better. Bring this out, kind of sit him there, see how he's going to look. Angle these arms just like so. Bring in the top of the cannon. You got the little notch section right here that slots in here perfectly. And there you have Sovereign back in his space cannon mode. And despite how tricky the transformation can be, it is actually fairly simple. You just have to know the proper order to go in. But I think the overall result is very, very nice. Space Cannon mode here looks terrific. It nails everything that you could possibly want in a Galvatron looking figure. Even giving you options to make it more actual toy looking. But I really think that the best look on him is his robot mode. That looks absolutely wonderful. And I'll be totally honest, I have no idea how an official release of Galvatron really could top this. I would love to see it, but until we get one, this is the best version of Galvatron that I have in my collection. So all that being said, if Sovereign is a figure that you'd like to add to your collection, he will be hitting various online retailers fairly soon, including the folks over at CapturedPrey.com. So all you have to do for that is click on the link down in the video description. You'll go to Captured Prey where you can check out availability on this guy, as well as the rest of the wide range of transforming third-party figures. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been optibotimus. Don't forget that if you like this video, to please like and share it. It goes a long way towards helping me out. Also, be sure to subscribe in case you haven't already subscribed. That way you get instant email notifications whenever I upload a new video, and you never miss out on a future review of mine. Or if you're already subscribed, be sure to click on that little bell on my homepage and check to see that your settings are set so that you get those email notifications. And as always, until next time, be excellent to each other.